Hey everybody. I don't understand what the heck is going on. This is really annoying. Wait for some people to join here. What's up, Jay? Good to see you, buddy. Waiting in Jakarta. Good to see you, buddy. I'm waiting on everybody to show up here. I apologize for how foggy everything looks. I was filming the other day in my bathroom, and one of my photo lights fell and smashed my front-facing camera. I had a backup phone, but for whatever reason, it won't go live. My guess is probably it's got an outdated version of Instagram on it. Updating it, but oh well. We'll deal with it for today. I'm getting a new screen replaced, so. Yeah.
You're gonna make us like sit really close to each other.
Oh yeah, awkwardly close.
Yeah, this is not good.
I want to apologize in advance for my foggy appearance. I was just telling the guys that I think you saw it on my story. I was filming the other day in my bathroom, and one of my lights fell off and landed right on my front-facing camera and shattered my screen. So I do have a backup phone, but for whatever reason, when I tried to go live, it wouldn't do it. So you're going to have to look at me like this.
No bueno. It adds to the mystique, man.
It does. It gives it some atmosphere. We're going to wait a few minutes, let some people join.
Yeah.
And kind of go from there. How's your evening been?
Good. Just got the store shut down here, so
10 seconds ago, locked the door.
Nice. Don't any people walking in. Got a couple people here, but we'll wait just a few minutes for some more people to join. What are you guys working on today?
Potentially a new fragrance.
Oh, okay.
Days. Yeah.
Nice.
New fragrance for the premium line.
Now, I know there's only a couple people here so far, but I do have a question for you. The one you sent me here, this is the new base, correct?
New base in the classic line. Yep.
Okay. So how do people like me know the difference between your new base and your old base?
So I guess there's not...
There's no identifiers on it?
No, and I would say what I would say about that is most of the people, honestly, there's not many people that have had the old base. So I would say that most of the people that had the old base, particularly if you were at Big Shave Southwest and purchased something from us, honestly, we've actually replaced just about every single one of them free of cost.
Wow. So are you eliminating your old base altogether and just going with the new one?
Correct.
Okay. I didn't know if you had two different offerings or what it was.
Nope.
Now we have a little audience built, so let's go ahead and kind of introduce your guys' self. Tell me who you are. Tell everybody who you are. The company and why you started what you did.
So I'm Chris. Basically, my foray into wet shaving started in 2012, and
okay.
Just like every single one of you guys out there, hobbyists, that changed really fast. I mean, instantly. The first time I ever tried traditional wet shaving, I mean, it was just like game over from the very first time I ever did it, and basically grew from there into like a borderline obsession.
Yeah, so, I get
it. So I mean, I tried, and to be honest, I was fairly active for a period of time on some of the forums. I did some reviews on some early, when Mike's Natural was starting and Barrister Man was starting, and like wet shaving products, all those companies were actually just starting up. And so I did some reviews back then, mainly on fragrance, actually, just kind of reviewing fragrances, and just continued to really love, everything about men's grooming. But what that did, the wet shaving kind of opened up doors for me, and I got into fragrances. I got into, even things like, artisan or more natural, like toiletries, like deodorants and things like that.
Okay.
So changed my whole view on men's grooming, like across the board. I ended up going to work, for a men's grooming company, large men's grooming company for years, was in management there, and never really lost my passion for that. Started making soaps in my basement, I guess probably 2015.
Okay.
And, just for myself and a few friends. Never really anticipated offering that to the public, but here we are.
I don't want to jump ahead, but I did see one question before everything got started. Somebody said, what's the difference between your old base and your new base?
So a couple different things. Mainly, so if you take a look at, if you were at Big Shave Southwest, we dramatically decreased the amount of water that was in the original formula. And we also changed the levels of a few ingredients. We didn't actually change the base oils that are being used, and to some extent even the proportions of those base ingredients. But with a few small tweaks here and there, we noticed a kind of a dramatic shift in performance across the board. So.
Sure, definitely. Well, I appreciate you answering that real quick. So let's get back to you were making the soap in your basement. You didn't have any real, original plan to release it, I assume. Did you make the soap for your own consumption, or did you have the idea that you wanted to eventually release this to the public?
So in general, I made it for myself, and like I said, a few friends. But I would say at first I didn't have an idea of doing that. I was, quite happy for a period of time, working in the men's grooming industry. Career there was going well, and, enjoying that to some extent, but didn't like the trajectory, I guess, at one point, the trajectory long-term of where my career was headed, which was towards like district management.
Sure. So
I wanted to impact and kind of give back to a community that I loved in a different way than that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I loved interacting with people on a daily basis. I got the opportunity to talk to thousands and thousands and thousands of people about shaving, about men's grooming, which that aspect I loved. Training people. I turned so many people, employees into, rabid, shaving, basically shaving people. And,
you've converted them, huh?
Yes, very much so. Pretty much most of the people that I was directly in contact with, basically, just kind of rubbed off.
Sure, understandable. Now, why vegan? Why did you guys decide to go vegan and not tallow? Is there a reason behind that?
So early on, when I was doing things in my basement, I didn't do a lot of things with tallow, honestly. So tallow was more of a, I guess, a later, I wouldn't say discovery, because obviously I knew about it and people were using it back in 2012 or whatever. But I would say that my experience with it, my experience formulating with it, came later. So as I started to use it, I noticed a few things about it, which is probably what a lot of the people in the industry notice about it. There tends to be, to some extent, you can notice differences in slickness. I think nowadays, though, I mean, you can do a vegan soap and get very close to the same tallow. So, that's probably what I would say. I just hadn't had the experience formulating with it previously.
I was just curious because there's a lot of people, like, for instance, PAA, I think from what I understand, he's vegan himself. So he just has some kind of thing where he just refuses to make tallow soap, and that's fine. So I didn't know if there was some reasons to that or not.
Honestly, and we've made this decision that our classic soap is technically not vegan. The base itself, the base oils are vegan. However, we have goat's milk and honey in it. obviously not vegan. And even if you go further into it, silk amino acids, not vegan. Which, that's really diving deep into it. But
I was going to say, where do you draw the line on vegan? To me, when I think of a vegan soap, I think of something that just does not contain tallow. Now, granted, like you said, goat's milk kind of cancels that out. I get that. But, when I think, like, for instance, when people ask me for a good vegan soap, your name pops up. So do you guys refer to yourself as a vegan company by chance?
No. So it's really more about, and that decision really came down to, when people are looking for a vegan soap, are they looking for a vegan soap because they're themselves vegan, or are they looking for a vegan soap because they have a sensitivity to, say, lanolin or tallow or whatever it might be? And that's kind of the way we leaned on it. That there are certainly vegan people out there.
Sure.
One of the friends of mine that's been using the product recently is not vegan anymore, but he was. So he was using vegan soaps only because of that.
Gotcha.
And somebody that was vegan probably wouldn't use our soap.
Sure. No, and I get that. So do you guys have any plans on I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
I was just gonna. I'm Boyd, by the way.
Hey, Boyd.
The other half of this, and our red line is the tallow version, so we have both.
Oh, okay. See, that was another thing I was confused about too, and that's just me having so much info from different companies, and I've seen you guys been bringing out new formulas and stuff. So when it comes to like the grayish label, this is still what you would consider the non-tallow formula, but the red label does have tallow.
Correct.
Okay. See, and that's my bad. I have been referring to your red line as your new base, but the red one is obviously the tallow.
We pushed those the more tweaks that I was talking about through on both bases, to be honest, on both the classic and the premium. So
okay.
Yep.
Well, I will tell you, I did shave with your new vegan base last night, and it is stupid slick. It's great
Nice.
soap. Now, granted, you had a fantastic soap out of the gate, which is very surprising. And I don't mean that as an insult, but there's lots of people who start up, and let's face it, most of their bases are not the one they're going to stick with the rest of their career. But right out of the gate, you guys had something that competed with a lot on the market. So that was very impressive. Your labels were on point. Your bottles were on point. I mean, you came correct. You did your homework. So I was just curious, what made you want to push further for that new formulation?
That's me. I'm never happy.
I hear it. I get it.
I can attest to that.
Boyd's always, I'm always coming up with something new, and Boyd's always like, dude, you need to stop that. So, yeah, I mean, I even have things that I know I can do to our soap base now that, I've promised not to do them.
Okay.
But, without, give it a good year and make an announcement and that kind of thing. But honestly, I mean, kind of the way I am when it comes to formulation and that kind of stuff, I am a perfectionist. So if there's something about it that I think can be done better, I will keep tweaking and keep tinkering until I think it's the best that I can possibly do.
Sure, understandable. No, and I commend that. That's very commendable, and I get that. But where do you see Gentleman's Knot 3 years from now? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the market is oversaturated as it is. I think there's a lot of people on the market now that are bringing products to the market, and anybody who's been in the community, in the hobby, in the trade for any amount of time knows that there's so many expectations. Whether it's pretty packaging, good labels, a good backstory, a good soap, a good essential oil or fragrance. What do you want to see Gentleman's Knot in 3 years?
I would love to, and I would say there's probably other artisans out there that would to some extent agree with this, but I would love to not only continue to bring more people into this community, but I would also just love to keep pushing forward in terms of performance too. And I would also love to, I would say, sort of bridge the gap between the hobbyist side of this industry and the mainstream, and be able to offer something that both groups, if you want to call them groups, would be appealing to both groups.
Okay.
And that's, I mean, if you mentioned our branding and, you know, labels. Yeah, there's not custom artwork on each one. Honestly, it is for a reason, and that, you know, what I was just talking about is part of that reason. We want to not only, you know, be offering products to the artisan community, but we would love to be able to sort of bridge that gap as well.
Absolutely. No, and that's commendable. I mean, that's something I think everybody wants. I think you guys have a good product that can potentially get there. Now, you guys sell shave soap. You sell a pre-shave oil. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you have a beard oil as well?
Beard oil?
Yeah.
A specific beard oil?
And I'll kind of jump in here on this.
Okay.
So just to kind of round out the rest of that, talking about where we're going to go, we got into this. We started this company to not only do the best we could in the shaving community, but also expand to the beard community and our future. In 3 years from now, it's our goal that Gentleman's Knot isn't just a shaving brand or a beard brand, but an entire grooming line with hair products and skincare.
Awesome.
The entire package. And that's kind of where, you know, like Chris has kind of been, he's obviously the formulator of the duo. I'm not 100% responsible for the packaging, but I'm the one that's pushing for the packaging that has more commercial viability.
Okay.
And just to back this up just a little bit for some of those that are left on here. So I own a men's store called The Simple Man, and I met Chris inside my store one day because I started to carry more grooming products than a lot of other places in town did. So The Simple Man sells men's clothing, accessories, gifts, and the largest selection of independent grooming labels in town.
Nice.
So I was on the hunt to make sure that I was bringing in independent labels that were different than what you could find anywhere else, and then and I did that by, I mean, when I say I've sampled hundreds, or I mean literally hundreds and hundreds of different beard products and shave products and things like that, and I was getting to the point where I was seeking out private labeling for my brand. And so I came across Chris, we met, and, you know, I right away understood that he had a passion for the, you know, for the community and the wet shaving industry. And so I knew there was something there. Well, fast forward about another 10 months and we met again just by happenstance. I was doing a pop-up with my shop and I revisited the idea of branding, and Chris was like, well, you know, I've been making soaps on my own in my basement for years, and I think I have a product that's better, you know, than some of the stuff that's out there, and I think we can continue to improve. I never thought I would open my own business and do that. And I said, well, I've done that, so let's jump together if you're willing to do so. A couple of conversations later, and that's how we got together and started the brand.
That's awesome. I'm going to cut you off real quick because everyone's giving me shit about my camera. Everybody, yes, I broke my screen a couple days ago filming. So there's literally a shattered glass right over where my camera is. So yes, everything looks foggy and filmy and whatever. It's a $300 repair. So please bear with me for a couple of days. It could not have come at a worse time. I mean, granted, there's never a good time for a cell phone screen breaking. But yes, so I apologize for me looking the way I do. But that is exactly what is going on, so I apologize.
I didn't know there was that much smoke involved in vaping, dude.
Depends on what you use. My little guy here doesn't put out that much, but my older ones, oh yeah, they can fill up a room for sure. Matter of fact, my the MMA video I did the other day for the smoke effect was with a very big mod that I used to create smoke. So this time it's not. This one was a self-inflicted issue with my damn light that's right on that I'm staring at right now. I swear it's heckling me right now. It knows what it did. But no, back to what we were saying. So you guys joined together. In 3 years, you guys want to be more mainstream. Do you have any other products in the works that you can talk about? Anything that you're wanting to dive into, or maybe you have on the horizon that you're giggling? So obviously, I'm hitting something.
We have this conversation every day. So I've got in the backlog of things that I've either formulated on paper or started to formulate or do these things. I mean, there's definitely other products, but I think we've got to work on how we do releases, and Boyd needs to slow me down, basically.
Yeah.
Keeps you in check.
Yeah.
From the shopkeeper side of things, yeah, we've got tons of ideas of things that are coming around, but he's, exactly right. We're just in a short order. We have 3 of our classic line fragrances. We've got George, we have Ernest, and we have Jackie. And then we have 1 fragrance in our premium line or our red label at the moment. And so in the very near future, we're going to have 2 more releases in the red line to make a total of 6, 3 in our classic and 3 in our premium.
And we're hoping to, with that, probably release that premium aftershave as well.
Heather from Zingari Man said that beard is glorious.
Oh, well, thank you, Heather.
It's like, it's nothing compared to what it used to be.
Yeah. This is 2 months ago. I shaved off a beard of 8 years, 8 inches for a charity.
Wow.
So.
And sometimes I have a mustache out to here.
No, you don't. Are you serious?
Check the beginning of our feed, dude.
I'm going to have to go look. I'm going to screenshot it.
We were both in a beard and mustache competition. I was in a mustache
kidding.
part. Yep.
That's hilarious. So for people who haven't used your product, what sets you apart from the rest of the community?
What sets us apart from the community?
What do you have to offer?
Well, I think, that's a difficult question because there's some amazing artisans right now in this community.
That was the point of me asking it.
And every time we turn around, somebody is producing something better and more amazing, and these limited edition soaps and things. And that's, if we can back up when you talked about a little bit about our new base in our classic line. Chris had developed our original base that we were working with, and we were really, really pretty proud of it. And then what we realized is, Chris had been developing this stuff since 2012, and a lot has changed in the artisan community. So when we started with this original base, Chris was pretty confident that it was really a vast improvement over what was out there. And if you take a bunch of 2015 soaps, I think he was probably correct. And then, the retail side of me says, man, there's a ton of product out there. We have to start making sure that, because in my shop, I carry our brand and I carry 4 others. And so we've got product competition right on my shelves. And so we started to do a little bit more research in what was out there. And Chris was like, holy smokes, I can tell you. And I had a giant beard and I wasn't shaving. And he says, I can attest to the fact that the rest of the artisans have really improved over the last couple of years, and we have to make a change, or we're not going to be competitive.
When I went to work in the industry, I wouldn't say that I ever stepped out of the more artisan side of the community, but I would say that I wasn't nearly as active as I was before, and so kind of getting acquainted with that side of things, and just as you mentioned, it's super crowded, and that was something that wasn't really, maybe some people would think it was, but it wasn't really it wasn't anywhere near that in 2012.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't start wet shaving until about 2015, and even then it was overwhelming. Yeah. But to what you said about how things are constantly evolving is that's my issue, not just for you, but for everybody. Is there's so much, everyone's trying to outdo each other. Vegan was always a good soap, but then CK6 from PAA came out and kind of stirred things up. Zingari came out, Highland Springs came out, and then all of a sudden everyone just kept bumping it up, and it's scary. It's almost scary because there's so much out there that is so damn good, and it makes you wonder when do you get to a point where it's good enough? And I've asked that to several people and have never gotten a true answer. Now, granted, I don't expect you to have the answer, but I just would like to get your input on that. Do you think we're ever going to hit a wall or a ceiling?
So I would say that, the top artisans in the world are, there's not a massive difference, between, some of the top artisans in the world. I think, there, as I mentioned to you, there are certainly things in the back of my mind to where I could probably improve things even now, but
Sure.
I'm happy, I'm content with where things are for the time being, because I don't want to just, keep releasing a new base. But on the other side of things, I would say that what I'm trying to do, or what sets us apart, I'm just trying to make the best product that I can. I would say regardless of price, but I want to be conscious about that.
Sure.
I do make certain decisions in some of our ingredients that, maybe another artisan wouldn't make. When it comes to, just a quick example, when it comes to vitamin E, I don't want to use a synthetic form. I want to use natural vitamin E. And honestly, it's like double the cost of a synthetic vitamin E.
Sure.
And so there's little things like that. Like I want to make the best possible product that I can at a reasonable price. If that means it's slightly above, where others may be, I'm okay with that, because what's most important to me is making the best possible product that I can.
Exactly. And see, that's kind of the answer I was looking for, honestly, because at this point, everything is subjective. I may think the new Zagari Man base is great. I may think so-and-so's new base is great, but you may not. That's why I always make the joke that your models may vary. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to a successful company, I think of the people who run the company, which is why I love doing these interviews. Gives people a chance to get to meet the people behind it. So it comes down to the people running the company, the consistency, and just the overall quality. It doesn't have to be the best on the market. But that's the other thing, too, is I've also noticed quite the uptick in price. Granted, I started 4 years ago, but I could buy a set for $30. Now, average, you're spending $50 to $60 per set. And, it gets expensive.
Sure.
It's a hobby. Nobody, including me, needs all this stuff behind me.
No.
But, I think you answered right there, is it doesn't have to be the best on the market, but it's the best that you can do. And as long as you stand behind your product and you have the customer service there and you're there for your customers, that's all that really matters at the end of the day.
And, to be honest, I'm still one of, everyone that's watching and everyone that will watch. I'm still very much one of you. I use other people's products all the time. I do use ours more. Like today, for example, I used Terror from Barrister and Man.
Okay.
Absolutely loved the experience. I think Gentleman's Knot is a bit more protective. But
yeah.
Sorry, Will. Just kidding. No, I think to that, Will, I think I have bought more soap from you over the years than I have sold. So.
But see, that's the thing too, though, is a lot of people say Barrister Man has a fantastic soap base, but their scents are so polarizing. You either hate them or you love them.
Sure.
And I've maybe had 3 from Barrister Man, so I can't really talk. But the 3 I've had, none of them have really done it for me. If I'm going based off the scent, it doesn't do it. So that's kind of why I like having the option.
And I enjoy the variety of different.
Oh yeah.
I do use other artisans, and I enjoy doing using other artisan soaps too. So.
And,
sure.
and if I could just add a little bit here to what makes us a little bit different. So I have a kind of a motto in my retail store that if I don't love it, I don't sell it.
Sure.
So you're not going to find something inside my store that that I don't just absolutely love. You can, and beyond that, you can buy all of the stuff that I sell. You can buy it in, a handful of different places.
Sure.
Most of what I carry is unique. You don't find it across the masses, but
okay.
But my motto is that if you come into my shop, you're going to find a level of customer service that you can't find anywhere else. And
okay.
And so that's a little bit also of what we bring to the table. I think with Gentleman's Nod is the same sort of theme of customer service. We've taken a lot of time this has been, an 18-month process before we ever even put a soap out for somebody else to buy.
Sure.
And that's creating packaging, that's creating formulas, that's creating, just the entire, Gentleman's Knot as a whole, the story behind the brand and what we're trying to do. And just to add to that a little bit, something that makes us, I think, completely different and unique is our scents, I think, are different. And like you talked about, everything is subjective, but really what makes us different is you're getting you're getting Chris and my interpretation of what if these personas, these men that we're naming some of our fragrances after, you're getting our interpretation of who they were, what they meant to us, what we feel they meant to society, coming out through a scent. And that's a fun part. That's a really
I
fun
love that.
part of what we're trying.
I've always said I'm a sucker for a good backstory and a pretty label.
Yeah, and it's really an amazing process. I mean, we touched on a little bit here. We're working hard to develop the next 2 scents for our premium line, and we have some ideas, and we're charging ahead, and then we come across a fragrance that just flips us in 180 degrees, and is it a different person? Is it a different persona that this becomes? Are we, there's just 100 different ways we can go with that.
Sure.
And then we have 2 personalities here that are vastly different working together.
That sometimes is the best, though.
Yeah, it truly is. I mean, there are days when it's not the best, and there are days when it really comes out and shines. And like yesterday, for instance, we were busy formulating fragrances, and we're doing this in and amongst my retail customers, and we're attached to a barber shop, so we've got lots of input and things like that. And so we're kicking around these fragrance ideas and notes, and we're doing different things, and then stuff starts to come together, and it takes a funny twist, and then we throw our hands up and give up for a second, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's there. We try something different, and then we know it's a good fragrance when we both turn to each other and be like, yeah, this is it. And so,
well, I've been sitting here smelling Jackie, and out of the 3 I have from you, it is by far my favorite scent. I had made a comment that you took 2 classic notes and you threw some grass in there. Excuse me. And I really like the outdoorsy vibe. I like the twist on it. So I think you guys have something good going here. You guys have a great product. I wanted to bring you on. I wanted people to get to know you a little bit better. Like I said, you're kind of one of the rookies or one of the newbies in the community. So I think more people need to be more exposed to you and get to know you guys a little better, because you truly do have a great product, and especially coming right out of the gate. It takes a lot to impress me. It takes a lot to impress me, and a lot of people, especially when they say, "Hey, I'm selling shave soap now." I'm like, yeah, you and 50 other people. So it takes a lot for me to sit there and be like, okay, I can sense the passion. I can feel the work and time and effort you've put into this. And I said, even with your older base, which even your newer base is much better. Your old base, to me, I would have bought that. Like if I was not a wet shaver freak who likes to own everything, I could have bought your old set and been totally happy because it was a great base the way it was. But I commend you for the time of putting it through. But guys, I don't know if you had anything else. I think I've touched on the subjects that I wanted to. The red carpet is yours. Is there anything you want to talk about with Gentleman's Nod that you have coming down the pipeline? Anything you want people to be interested in or keep an eye out for?
First of all, tell Heather to DM me. I'd love to trade.
Okay. Heather's awesome.
But I've been wanting to try her product too. But no, I think just that as things progress here, we're going to be very thoughtful about how we release things, thoughtful about which products come next, and we're, I guess the biggest thing that I would want the community to know is that we're here for the long term. We're not going anywhere. We have big plans. We have, long term down the road, into, whether it's, personal care or toiletries. But, this is my, the wet shaving community in general has been my passion for so many years. And, I would, everything that I do, I put my heart and soul into it. And I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the process just like all of you guys do. So it's, I'm really no different from any one of you guys.
Awesome.
I would, if I got just a quick second here.
Yeah, sure.
I would chime in and just say that, something else that sets us apart, obviously this is, the vast majority of the folks that are on here are avid wet shavers, and I'm sitting here with a beard, and we do have beard balm or grooming balm and grooming oil. We chose to call it grooming oil and grooming balm because it has so many more uses than just beards.
Sure.
But Chris has done Chris has done an amazing job of formulating those products for beards that, you know, I being a bearded person myself and whatnot. So one of the things that I was just really adamant about is if we're going to go ahead and release something like that, it has to be drastically different. The wet shaving community is a little bit different in that there's a ton of artists doing some really amazing things, and you take, like Chris had mentioned earlier, you take some of the top artisans, and it really comes down to like just personal preference and subjectiveness. And this is kind of a bold statement what I'm about to say, but our beard products are drastically different than what's on the market.
Oh, really?
There are a ton of beard products out there, just like shaving products. And, you know, over the course of the last 5, 6, 7 years, beard oil, you know, 7 years ago, nobody talked about beard oil.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, and call it the hipster wave movement or whatever brought it all to, you know, to fruition. But I challenged Chris to do something as a formulator that was a little bit out of his wheelhouse, and he absolutely knocked it out of the park. Our oil, our grooming oil, is essentially a very high-end, lightweight skin moisturizer.
Okay.
That absolutely nourishes the skin and, you know, takes beard care down to the skin where it absolutely, you know, actually lives. You know, people's beard, and that's another reason we call it grooming oil, because beard oil is a misnomer. You call it a beard oil, and every, you know, guy out there just slathers it on his beard topically and doesn't actually nourish the skin underneath.
Sure.
And I know it's a bold statement, but our beard products, the grooming balm and the grooming oil, are vastly different than what's out there. They're just not, they're non-greasy. They absorb at a rate that is, you know, unmatched. And the conditioning is just crazy. I mean, I just shaved off an 8-inch beard, and I, you know, there's lots of folks out there that have really amazing beards. But I'm a person that takes pride in mine, and it's just revolutionary. I know that's a very bold statement.
It is, but I'm intrigued. I like it.
And we're telling it to a bunch of wet shavers out here. But
you'd be surprised how much of us have facial hair. There's guys out there almost as hairy as you that just line up their cheeks, their necks, but no, it's fine.
And absolutely, I mean, and like I said, it's grooming oil. It's used for so many things. You know, there was somebody that did a review last night of our aftershave using it as a facial serum or a complete balm. You know, our lightweight daily face moisturizer, and our grooming oil is used in a very similar way and doesn't leave you all greasy. It's incredible stuff.
That's awesome.
The last thing I would say is between the two of us, be like the retail experience and the time that we've spent in front of actual men asking about whether it's shaving or beard and mustache. I mean, we've talked to tens of thousands of men between the two of us, you know, in terms of helping them with unique shaving issues, with beard issues. So there's a wealth of knowledge here that goes beyond just when it comes to formulation. I approach all my formulations kind of with the end in mind. What do I want someone to experience? What do I want them to feel? What do I want them to, not only in application, how do I want it to feel, but how do I want their skin to feel afterwards? How do I want their beard to feel afterwards? How do I want them to feel as they're applying it? I mean, so, you know, when I formulate things, I think about that experience that all those men that I've talked to and all those issues that I've come across. I try to address those things as I'm formulating products. So that would be another thing.
Awesome. Well, guys, I think this has been great. I appreciate all the info you've given me, and I appreciate everybody who's watched today. So unless there's anything else, I think we're going to call it a night.
Thank you, sir. You have a good night. All right.
Let's do this again. I appreciate you coming on my channel. It's always an honor to have an artisan on. So let's do this again sometime.
All right, sir. Good night.
All right, take care.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I've got to run. I will set this on my YouTube as well. Thank you guys so much. Love you all.